Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Goodman Group Annual General Meeting. This meeting, of course, is electronic and as a consequence of COVID, where large assemblies of people is not possible. At the meeting today, in the company's premises, I have Greg Goodman, our Chief Executive Officer, who is well known to you, Stephen Johns, who is an Independent Director, Mark Johnson, an Independent Director, Anthony Rosick, an Executive Director, and Penny Wynne, an Independent Director. As well, we have in the premises here Carl Passaggio, our Company Secretary. Off-site, because of COVID, we have Rebecca McGrath, an Independent Director, Danny Peters, an Executive Director, Philip Pride, an Independent Director, Chris Green, an Independent Director, David Collins, an Independent Director. The meeting today will have me, of course, continuing speaking for a little while with my address, followed by Greg, who will give his CEO's address. Following that, we'll deal with the formal business, where the various resolutions will be debated, put to the meeting and voted upon. During the year, this very challenging year, Goodman's priority has been on the health and well-being of our people, our teams, our customers, and our charity partners around the world. Like all businesses, our team of 950 people moved quickly to remote working in all of our markets around the world. Whilst this was challenging in many aspects, their resilience was tested and their flexibility to adapt and continue to deliver proved invaluable. As well, through the Goodman Foundation, we increased our support to the most vulnerable in our community with a specific focus on mental health, domestic violence, and feeding the homeless and underprivileged. The financial results for the year were very strong. The operating profit of $1.06 billion was up 12.5% on the prior year. Statutory profit was $1.5 billion. Our operating earnings per security of 57.5 cents were up 11.4% on the prior year, an impressive increase. Our distribution per security was 30 cents a share. Our gearing at 7.5% was down from 9.7% in the prior year. And our group liquidity of $2.8 billion, including $1.8 billion in cash. As well, we had $16 billion of equity commitments and cash in undrawn debt in our partnerships. And so the twin aspirations of profitability and liquidity were achieved during the year. An outstanding result. Goodman first listed on the ASX in 1995, 25 years ago. Can you believe it? It started with 8 people and 8 properties in one city, just over $75 million in assets. It's expanded today to almost 400 properties across the Asia Pacific, Europe and the Americas, with over $51 billion in assets under management and a team of 950 people. Today it has emerged as one of the largest property groups globally and one of the top 15 companies listed on the ASX. A pretty impressive performance in those 25 years. Goodman has stayed true at all times to its strategy of being customer focused, having strategically located properties and a strong team of people. The group has established strong leadership teams, financial resources and a strategic real estate portfolio. But what makes Goodman unique and sustainable is the strength of its people and its inherent expertise in the industrial market and the ability to fund the expansion of the group and the partnerships through equity and not debt. 2 very important considerations. Our Australian heritage and culture has helped the group assimilate into local markets as we've expanded globally. This has contributed to our success. In fact, it's been fundamental to our success. Over time, customers and capital partner relationships have expanded across multiple regions, allowing our intellectual property to be shared and leveraged at scale. A distinct and unique attribute is that Goodman has not only been successful in its global expansion, but also that our people have remained loyal and committed through varying market cycles. Retention of our people is critical. Goodman's global executive team have an average tenure of 14 years. That doesn't come easily or quickly, but it's a very important and confident staff that we have based upon that long tenure. Goodman has an alignment of our interests between our security holders, our capital partners and our people, and it's critical to our success. Our remuneration structures must align security holders and our people, set ambitious growth targets and be performance-based. Consequence of that activity has been the serious outperformance of Goodman against the peer groups. The fact that in the past 10 years it has rewarded shareholders to the extent of 600% when compared to the other peer groups is outstanding. A core strength has been the group's strategic vision and selective property acquisitions. Our property portfolio has been developed with the long-term requirements of our customers in mind. Since 2013, we've sold $26 billion of assets around the world, something I think at the time surprised people, but it was a deliberate strategy to allow funds from the sales to be reinvested into more strategically located properties where our customers need to be. That is, close to transport hubs, a skilled workforce, and importantly, large consumer populations. The combination of strong leadership teams, financial resources, and strategic real estate portfolio has allowed us to maximise the sustainability of earnings through different market cycles. The group's strategy is innovative and continues to evolve. It's impossible not to do that if you're to be contemporary. We have continued to develop alongside our partners, providing strong risk-adjusted returns and diversified funding, a mutual benefit of our structure. Let me talk about a very good example of innovation. Interlink in Hong Kong is an example of Goodman's approach to develop a modern multi-storey logistics facility in a country with significant land scarcity, a strategic location adjacent to the container terminal and Stonecutters Bridge. The property itself is 225,000 square metres and 22 stories high. And the first 15 stories are such that vehicles drive up those 15 floors with containers on board. The last 7 floors have cargo lifts. And so that innovation is quite exceptional and unique. And of course it has attracted large global logistic customers and has been awarded a number of certificates for sustainability. The group's strategy incorporates a financially conservative approach in order to grow sustainably through the cycle. Financially, the group operates with very low levels of debt, primarily from public debt markets, and diversified equity sourced from the world's largest pension and sovereign wealth funds. We have significant undrawn lines and available cash and significant covenant flexibility. Operationally, the group shares the risk and return on development with our global partners, enabling large growth and work in progress across $52 billion asset base. A focus on our underlying cash flow is the other important characteristic of Goodman. We measure productivity, earnings, and other incentives as a consequence of that. Contrast that to the statutory profit of $1.5 billion, which includes revaluations which we don't bring to account. The strict concentration of assets in infill markets with highest barrier to entries also promotes high occupancy and strong cash flow throughout a cycle. Let me now move to the board itself. Of course, at this meeting we talk about board renewal, and Mark Johnson has joined the board during the year. Mark is an accountant with a strong professional background in accounting and in public companies, and will be a welcome addition to the board and will chair the audit committee in the future when I stand down for re-election and Stephen Johns is, I hope, re-elected today. Stephen will become chairman of the board on my retirement, and in his 3.5 years with the board has proven his undoubted skill base that's important to chair a company of this size. Stephen will be a very good chairman in the future, in my view. My time with Goodman has been rewarding for me, and I trust for you. The wonderful financial returns the group made in the last decade, which I showed you earlier on, have demonstrated the undoubted ability of Goodman companies to perform well internationally, and for Goodman to be a major player on a world scale. Goodman has succeeded beyond most analysts' expectations. The primary reason is its people. The ability to strategise, execute and then manage industrial property throughout the world is largely the result of Greg Goodman's leadership. The foundations are now in place for an escalating output of developments with the resultant financial outcomes. This emanates from the group's proven expertise in leadership and Greg Goodman's management team. They are without peer. Thank you. I wish you and the company every continued success. I'll now hand over to your Group CEO, Greg Goodman.